my heart into something gold. Knew I sold my soul to the devil long ago. I wrote it all along on your wave right before it broke. Time was thrown down the well, so I let you go. What I do right now. What I do right now for you, for you. Carolina skies in the night, floating by your side. I fell up when you fell down, but we stayed in flight. I'm laughing to myself, 'cause I know that I can't deny. I can't find what you can't hide right inside my mind. What I do right now. What I do right now for you, for you. You're the light inside of me every night. We're chasing dreams, ain't got time to make 'em see what we believe. You and me, yeah. Me, yeah. Me, yeah. Me, yeah. We believe you and me. Me, me, me. Make 'em see what we You're the light inside of me every night. We're chasing dreams, ain't got time to make 'em see what we believe. You and me, yeah. Me, yeah. Me, yeah. Me, yeah. We believe you and me. Me, me, me. Make 'em see what we been working part-time jobs, chasing all my dreams now lately. No matter if I try too hard, nothing's ever enough, baby. No, I don't care too much. I don't care too much. As long as I can keep you by my side, I don't care too much. We got time, no rush. In your eyes, I always see there is something meant for me. In your eyes, I always feel different. Tell me everything's alright. Life is just a bunch of faces, and if it's not, we'll still be fine. I know we're going places. I don't care too much. I don't care too much. As long as I can keep you by my side, I don't care too much. We got time, no rush. In your eyes, I always see there is something meant for me. In your eyes, I always feel different. In your eyes, I always see there is something meant for me. In your eyes, I always feel different. I was dancing on my own when you spilled that rum and coke on my t-shirt. Yeah, your eyes made it difficult to get my baby. And the next thing I knew, we were so ready to give in, skin to skin on that baseline. Ooh, you give me that high pitch feel, baby. We shared a cigarette by East Versailles. The way you looked at me, couldn't say goodbye. And whatever you did to make it stop, 'cause baby, you make me feel something. And the next thing I knew, we were so ready to give in, skin to skin on that baseline. Ooh, you give me that high pitch feel, baby. We shared a cigarette by East Versailles. The way you looked at me, couldn't say goodbye. And whatever you did to make it stop, 'cause baby, you make
Everybody to the sound of the tuba. Everybody to the sound of the tuba.
Said I'd find a way to turn my heart into something gold. Knew I sold my soul to the devil long ago. I wrote it all along on your way right before it broke. Time was thrown down the well, so I let you go. What I do right now. What I do right now for you, for you. If you I've been working part-time jobs, chasing all my dreams now lately. No matter if I try too hard, nothing's ever enough, baby. No, I don't care too much. I don't care.
Start your esports career now at play.eslgaming.com.
Wir arbeiten schon viel. Und das darf auch sein. Es gehört halt auch dazu. Aber die Technik schafft heute auch viel. Immer mehr sogar. Die Luftfeuchtigkeit passt. Die Stauatmosphäre stimmt. Und wenn die Technik immer mehr schafft, könnten wir ja zwischendurch ein Kehr weniger krampfen. Oder etwa nicht?
You ready? Huh? Hey, he's a good boy, huh? You ready? Huh?
Start your esports career now at play.eslgaming.com.
Good evening, dear ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to yet another night here at the Swisscom Hero League, powered by ESL. I can't believe it's already day 3 personally, and one person can certainly not be missing to carry me through another evening full of League of Legends here, and that's Carlo, aka Chef Zuger here to my left. Good evening, my dear friend. How are you doing?
Hello, hello. I'm doing fine. Always when I'm able to cast League of Legends, I'm super happy. And today is gonna be another chance to see some good teams compete on Summoner's Rift again.
Yeah, you already mentioned it in your tweet. We can already say it's gonna be the match between Scythe of Serath, quite a tongue twister. We've been practicing that over the past week, against one of the teams that we've seen so many times come to the Swisscom Hero League in Lausanne Esports. And it is, as a matter of fact, the last team remaining from the French part of Switzerland. And usually we have these kind of duels between the small duels between the regions. But this is their last shot.
Yeah, Lausanne is the last remaining team from the Romandie, and they already did a great tweet about it. Really like that. Shoutouts to the Twitter manager from Lausanne Esport. Real good job. But yeah, they need to perform to keep the hopes for the Romandie alive.
Yeah, absolutely, and they have to certainly give their best. They have quite an interesting roster to throw a little sneak peek for that out there as well. We're gonna have a look at that in a bit as well. Yeah, it's been quite a hype weekend here. We had the LCS as well as the LEC finals this past week. Here on screen we have our matchup of today. As I mentioned before, Lausanne against Scythe here. Did you personally manage to catch all the League of Legends action this weekend?
Yeah, I caught the League of Legends action. I wasn't super happy because I myself am a Fnatic fan, and it was not so nice to see how they were playing. So yeah, not the best weekend ever.
Can imagine that. Well, I personally I can out myself as a G2 fan, so I was rather happy. Although I would have wished for some more closed games, especially in the finals. Here we have another look at our bracket here. We already saw 2 quarterfinals past week in My Insanity Madhouse against Flame and Silent Gaming versus Fragbox Gaming, where both the upper teams managed to advance and will be facing off against each other next Friday. And today we're gonna determine who's gonna be taking one of the 2 other semi-final spot remaining, whether it's gonna be Lausanne Esports or Scythe of Seraph. And then tomorrow night it's gonna be the duel between Arctic Gaming and Recast Gaming to take a shot at their take and to see who can make it to the grand finals eventually, will be taking place on the 2nd of May for all our 3 games here in the Swisscom Hero League, powered by ESL. And yeah, you already said it. It has been quite an exciting weekend here. It's always interesting because after these big duels, you could see some new things popping up. Maybe we'll see Scythe of Seraph whipping out the Kog'Maw Lulu bot lane here, or
Yeah,
will
I mean
Lausanne
already
will Lausanne go for the Inting top laner? We never know.
No, but I mean G2 showed us some adaptations this weekend, and maybe some teams will look toward these adaptations. I mean also the Yumi in the series against Mad Lions was very impactful. But let's first take a look at the lineup of Lausanne Esports.
Yes, and that's gonna be an old faithful here in the top lane. It's gonna be Sleety, but not on Fragbox anymore, but this time playing for Lausanne Esports. Then Motomoto in the jungle, Arno who switched to the mid lane, also a familiar face in Hitokuro in the bot lane, and Django moving from the mid lane all the way to support. So quite a bit of a change here in the terms of the individual roles of the players here. What do you think about that personally?
Yeah, I wasn't following them very much between season 2 and season 3, so I don't know if it was if the role swap happened pretty recently after season 2, but it's surely always a challenge to learn a new role. But I'm interested to see how they match up now with these 2 new roles and this new roster.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I personally think, and I think it's about known in the League of Legends esports community, that a transition from like mid lane to support is not that uncommon, because the skill set on a lot of the like meta picks translates a lot, especially when it comes to like enchanters and yeah, all the skill shot reliant champions. You can do quite a bit there. But the change from a top lane to a mid lane is certainly a big step, I personally feel.
I would say that that changed maybe the past 2 seasons. True. Because the flex picks got so much more relevant that most top laner and mid laners have to know already how to play many champions that can play it on either role. So I think that's a smaller change than it once was.
Yeah, Yeah, wise words there, my dear chef. And maybe Arno is just the proper embodiment here of a real life flex, yes. But let's actually have a look at their opposition here in a new team, and that is Scythe of Seraph. I think we should just be sticking to calling them SOS probably because that's so much
Yeah.
easier.
Yeah, so SOS has in the top lane Rogerius, in the jungle Rakpine, in the mid lane we have Yametsu, in the bot lane Kemal, and as the support Jack.
Yeah.
Some interesting names.
Yeah. Fun fact actually, I think it's pronounced Rukpin, and apparently it means back pain in Afrikaans, because
Oh.
he always has to carry his team, and therefore he has back pain.
Well, let's see if we can do that here too.
Yeah, I'm certainly very, very curious what we're gonna see out of those players. Rather unknown people, I have to say, to our past seasons at the very least. But I personally always like that when we see some fresh new faces coming in here, some new players that have not just been like cherry picked together from like the high elo players we have, but rather than being like put together, trained as a team from the beginning, and then put up to the test against their oppositions. And I personally feel that usually works out better when you have that innate synergy and the team spirit between the players.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, we already saw last Friday where Silent Gaming fought against Fragbox Gaming.
True.
And I mean, pure elo-wise, Fragbox Gaming had a clear advantage, but still Silent Gaming was able to manage to get the series. Maybe we see here too that SOS maybe with a little bit the lower elo compared to Lausanne still can get the win.
Yeah, and I think that just perfectly exemplifies that how elo is not necessarily a determination for competitive League of Legends, because there's so much more to it. Of course, you need like those basic skill sets. You obviously have to know how to properly last hit, how to manage your wave, how to create pressure around the map, and how to But in a competitive setting, those objectives and like team compositions and just overall strategies and communication skills become so much more important. Where just being like a good player as itself can just simply not be enough.
Yeah, but sometimes, I mean, we are at the high level, but still there is room upwards. So I think at this level, it still is a big impact how good the individuals are. And if the difference is too big, that also can be already a determining factor for the game. Especially if that one person then gets fed. But I think there is also much possibilities where you can, as a 5-man team, do very much with good communication, good rotations to outplay your opponents, which maybe are individually better. But yeah,
That's true.
let's see how that's gonna play out.
I personally also like how League of Legends has evolved over the past years. Like until like 3 seasons ago or so, it was still very possible for just like a single person to carry a game through. In essentially most of the positions, if you just get like giga fed, you could just run away with the game by yourself. That has become incrementally harder, like 2 or 3 years ago, and it's evolved much more into this team game where you should focus on vision, where you have to focus and prioritize objectives, where you really have to identify the win conditions of your compositions and not just like lock in the Irelia top lane and just go for a 1v9 play every time.
Yeah, I think, but I mean, Lausanne is a newer roster, I think, but still they have some experienced players in their team, and that's also something every other player that maybe doesn't have that much of experience in the competitive environment can profit from. I mean, someone like Arno, someone like Hitokuro, they know the scene and they know how it is to play as a five-man team, and I'm sure they can teach the others how things work and that they can improve the whole team with that.
Yeah, absolutely. On the other hand, you always have to factor that, of course, being out there, being involved in the competitive scene for a while, always makes you like, let's say, you're easier to maybe read because you have like there have been streams where those players have been shown, they have played at tourneys, and they can be tracked, like they have track records, so you can just look at how they're performed. Maybe you can identify some old habits, and as we all know, like bad habits die hard. So if you see something in one of these players, you could maybe identify that and then just try to specifically play around this factor or target them, for example. Whereas when you have like a fresh team, it becomes really hard to really get a grasp of what they could potentially do. I mean, you can take a look at their match history, but then you like never know. Have they been playing on a Smurf? Have they been playing like in a competitive setting previously? What do they like to do around which timings? They have like this cloak of anonymity still surrounding them, and that makes it like hard to really know how SOS will try to win their games here, and they have done spectacularly coming into these quarterfinals.
Yeah, I mean they had to go through the qualifying tournament in which they went 4-1, which is pretty good, and then they beat. I don't want to say something wrong. They beat Russian Rise.
Yep.
So yeah, Russian Rise was a team of we already saw last season, but wasn't the most competitive team. So it's hard to read something into that.
Yeah, absolutely. So remainder there of season 2 already remaining. But yeah, I'm also curious what they're gonna whip out here for tonight. I'm sure we're gonna have a lot of fun though, and a lot of interesting action here that's gonna be able to catch. I'm especially curious how like Django and Arno are adapting to their new role, how confident and comfortable they feel in the mid lane. I personally, I've only seen Arno be a top laner, honestly, and Django mostly in the mid lane. Here we are actually now with the first draft here of the night. We see Scythe of Seraph is on the blue team and Lausanne here in red to start things off.
Yeah, I'm really interested in seeing what their style is. I think the point that you mentioned with the position swaps is pretty interesting, and we see already a Vladimir ban. I think we already saw Arno last season multiple times playing Vladimir and playing it real good. Yeah, right.
Sleety had that game where he went like against I think it was Caputimos.
Yeah, Pantheon.
Yeah, it's 3-0 Pantheon, and then just managed to like even it out and just completely carry the game on his back there. But we see that ban out here, followed by the Lee Sin ban. Lausanne is a lot quicker here on the trigger when it comes to the ban. Ban out the Yuumi right away there, followed by that monkey.
Yeah, I think the Yuumi maybe could be inspired by G2's decision this weekend to play Yuumi in the series against Mad Lions, where they showed how strong Yuumi still can be, and they don't want to mess around with that.
Yeah, definitely not. I mean, you just like they managed to get like a vein through what is usually a tough laning phase, but with the Yuumi they'll just was doing super well there. The early 2 kills they of course will have helped. SOS now banning out the Caitlyn here, so targeting a bit of everyone here while Lausanne decides to go for the Echo ban, and we see a Quinn here being hovered as the first pick.
Yeah,
I don't
that's a
think
bait.
I think too. It has to be. Like, who would lock in?
It's not
Okay.
a blind pick
Okay,
you want,
yeah, okay.
no. But there are so many strong picks left open. I mean, Ornn now is picked, which is one of these very strong picks, but the AD carry pool is not targeted at
Oh.
all. And yeah, Saya Rakan, such a strong bot lane, locked in immediately for Lausanne.
Yeah, and I mean,
So they have, for sure, they have already bot lane priority.
yeah, and I mean, we've seen Hitokuro in the past, in season 1 here actually. He didn't play last season, if I'm not mistaken, but he's always been doing fantastically.
Yeah. And now SOS, I think they will answer a bot lane for themselves, otherwise they get banned out. They take the Nautilus. He can interrupt the Rakan, but it's quite difficult to interrupt him during his dash. But it's possible, and I don't like that
Oof.
pick very much. And they picked the Aphelios, who's freshly nerfed.
Yeah,
So
interesting decision there.
I'm very interested how SOS is gonna handle that, but I think Lausanne has a big advantage in the bot lane.
Yeah, I gotta agree with you there. I personally am still not sure on Aphelios. I mean, he still deals a lot of damage, but I think with his nerfs, he's just not scaling nearly as well anymore. He's just not that free late game insurance, and Lausanne here locking in the graves for the jungle.
Maybe even as a flex pick.
You could play him mid, I guess,
Yeah.
or even top
Yeah.
lane. Like,
I think it would be okay. It would do okay into an Ornn. I think even good.
Yeah. But then again, you have
Because-
the set up open here, for example.
I hope for SOS that they ban it out.
Yeah.
Maybe I'm interested if SOS is looking for something like a Cillian mid or something, which we saw now multiple times picked together with the Aphelios. I think it's pretty strong together with him if you wanna throw more abilities at Aphelios and let him carry. But I'm not so sure
Oh,
what
wow.
to make out of that draft until now.
Okay, this seems like Scythe, they have identified the Sleety potential split push carry here as their target here, as they ban out the Fiora as well as the Camille on the side of Lausanne. It's going to be the Rek'Sai here together with Victor. So no specific lane being targeted, but it looks like they are just looking to ban out some comfort here on the side of SOS, and that's an Ilaoi.
I'm not happy about the pick.
you
It's,
don't look too happy, my friend.
No, it's such a sure solo queue pick. I don't see how they are gonna make I don't know how they are gonna make her work in a competitive environment. It's I mean, if she doesn't hit her E ability and pulls out your soul, she's just plain useless most times. And you just, if you don't run into her, she's not strong.
Yeah.
So I think that's a really bad pick, but maybe Lausanne has some hidden strategy. Meanwhile, SOS is picking their last champion, and they now have Syndra in the mid lane and the Jarvan in the jungle.
Fun fact, Ilaoi actually has been picked up in the spring split competitively in the LCK. Specifically by APK Prince top laner Ixu. I've seen him a couple of times in that pick. It's never been done fantastically well. They also didn't make playoffs, so that could also tell a story right there. But with the Syndra locked in as well, have the Jarvan on the side of SOS there, and Lausanne following that up now with the Kassadin for the mid lane by the looks of it. They have an interesting draft here. I don't really see many engage tools yet.
Yeah, I mean Rakan can engage, but um, I have to give that one for sure to SOS.
Yeah.
The only thing I like about Lausanne's draft is the bot lane, and I mean, if you pick a Kassadin, you have to bring him to his late game. That's your job as a team, and then he can carry. But I don't really see how they are gonna manage that with their draft.
Yeah. But I mean,
I
we have seen Beshe from Silent Gaming bringing out the Kassadin against Zero's Syndra in game 2 on Friday, and that worked out rather well. So that Kassadin is
Yeah.
always that potential win condition if you get
Yeah,
him
yeah,
ahead
sure.
and if you
But
manage to give him that farm.
But the lane matchup isn't the most important part of a Kassadin pick in a competitive environment. In the competitive environment, you have to bring him to his level 16, otherwise he's not useless, but not so super useful. And for that you need to manage to get this Kassadin actively to that level.
Yeah.
And I mean, we saw when Silent Gaming picked it up, they had an Pike, I think, paired together with an Ezreal. So the Ezreal was just left alone on bot lane, and the Pike was always hovering mid lane to just ensure that this Kassadin doesn't get punished. And I don't see Rakan doing that.
No, neither do I. And just by looking at Size of Seraph draft here, they have so many great tools here, especially also into the composition here of that we're seeing out of Lausanne. I mean, Ilaoi, yeah, she can be strong. She can be like strong in if you leave her in the side lane by herself. She can also turn around some like 1v2 or 2v3 scenarios just with the use of her ultimate. But then again, what do you need to counter her? Healing reduction is really strong and CC is even better. And guess what? SOS have plenty on their team comp. A lot of CC. With the Nautilus, with the EQ coming out of the Charm, with the Syndra on top of that, it's just gonna be super tough here. And then the Ornn on top of that. I mean, yeah, he will be a bit of a punching bag in the early game here, and with the Black Cleaver probably coming in as a first item, he will not have an easy stand against the Ilaoi. But then again, you're not really playing for that condition. You want to go for those team fight scenarios where the Ornhorn is so much more impactful than an Ilaoi coming in from the side and just being guided away from.
Yeah, I mean, I see Ilaoi doing good stuff when she has flash up. I mean, like when how did you say it? Rockpin?
Yeah.
Or Rockpin? When Rockpin goes in for the Cataclysm, and then Ilaoi can like flash into the Cataclysm and just ult there and have like 4 tentacles. She can dish out very much damage, but without the flash, I don't see her achieving very much.
Yeah. So I got a question for you. How many tickles do you need to tickle an Ilaoi?
Tentacles. Yeah.
That is correct. That is correct. Oh, sorry. I choked on the punchline.
You should.
I should. I'm so
We
sorry.
see both teams. Let's go to the game.
Yes.
We see both teams starting on the bot side, but Lausanne doesn't help the jungler and tries maybe to surprise the enemies, but nothing's gonna happen.
Excuse me for that. Yeah, and so far, if we have a quick stroll through the runes and mastery, we see the phase rush actually coming in for Moto on that Graves, something we've seen coming up a little more and more in the more recent past here, and that makes him quite hard to escape from. And okay, and apparently we've just been told by our production we'll see we have the emotes, of course, back for our season 3 here. They've been doing great, I think. all over the world for a while, and now that they're also in the LEC, we also decided that we need some of that swag here in our league games here. Oh, and that's a stun coming down on Arno, and with the electrocute there, that's quite a bit of damage there down onto him. Yametsu will have the freest laning phase here of his life.
Yeah, and
Django
I
now
mean,
going in. Nice hook
Oh.
there, just in between the minions onto Itakuro. A bit of a scramble here going down in the bot lane. Django going down to about half health here, but a good trade here coming out, going to the favor of SOS here.
yeah, and we see here Ilaoi with the test of spirit can do quite a lot of damage and be super annoying. But also a problem about Ilaoi, she gives just additional gold to the enemies. Each tentacle gives 5 gold, and I mean, Ornn, he just takes the tentacles and makes a new item out of them.
Imagine like the Sunfire Cape being made out of those. Arno now being caught here in between Rockpin and Yametsu. Nice thunder coming down. He flashes, although Rockpin didn't drop the Massian standard there. But that summoner now being down puts him in an even more vulnerable position here. I like the pathing here coming out from the Jarvan.
Yeah, and yeah, Arno now has to TP back to the lane, which he was in a pretty bad state. Now Yametsu decides to push that wave so he can himself get a reset, but Arno had to use his TP and could only buy a ruby crystal and a refillable potion, so that's not the ideal backport you want as Khazad-dûm.
Yeah, and with that you don't really have any pressure onto the bot side of the map, so Rockpin now nicely covering down here, while the bot lane has a really nice wave there set up in front of their tower where they can just farm super safely and get the Aphelios to just farm up and scale a little bit here. Arno now still being a level down here onto Yametsu, just dings the level 5 there, but takes another bit of poke damage there from the Syndra. He also used his teleport, so that's gonna be an even one. But let's look if we see some action here, or at least attempts from both of these teams now before the Cassian might ding his level 6.
I think Yametsu just did a pretty bad play there with the backport. I mean, he had like 3/4 of HP left. I saw that he didn't have much mana left, but he still decided to push it out and back. I think he could have tried to stay in the wave a little bit longer and have a better wave position to then come back to the wave. Now he has Khazad-dûm shoved in under his tower where he can't be punished for the missing flash. So I think that wasn't the best decision by Yametsu.
Yeah, but on the other hand, with priority in the mid as well as the bot lane here, they can just super safely go for that first dragon here. They pick up the Ocean Drake here. That will certainly help them all across the map. But so far, we see a bit of a CS advantage here coming in all across the board here for the side of Lausanne here. And Django now makes his way in there with the grand entrance. Hitokura now being hooked up yet again. Alljack now being caught a bit out of guard and has to flash out there towards his tower. Can stay safe there. They get the attempt here out of Motomoto, but other than that, nothing much more has to be invested.
Yeah, I mean, the flash down for Nautilus is pretty good before level 6, so he can just flash ult someone, but I mean, Hitokura could also dodge that, so that's not the biggest threat for the moment, but it's always good to just get some summoner spells down, and especially if you are the team that is farming better, you just alleviate pressure for your laner as the jungler.
Yeah, absolutely, but so far it has been a bit of a snooze fest here going on in the early game. Not too much action there here coming in, besides the previous gank attempt in the mid from Rockpin and then Motomoto coming down to the bot there once, but other than that, not really too much going on here in the early game. It looks like both both teams are just more or less fine here with just farming and scaling, but Lausanne seems to be having the better of that. I mean, look, the Kassadin is even up in farm at this point. Bot lane also has a small advantage, and then the Ilaoi, as to be expected, is up about 20-25 CS here over the Ornn.
Yeah, that's, I mean, being down a little bit of CS against such a lane dominant pick like an Ilaoi is to be expected, but in the team fights I expect Ornn to still do way more than the Ilaoi, just because of the skill kit that Ilaoi and Ornn bring to the table.
Yeah, that is very true, but so far we've also not seen many rotations here coming up, even with the Dragon going down that early, but SOS could now possibly be looking to rotate their bot lane up to the top and then maybe look for a Rift Herald here and also alleviate some pressure here out of Rogerius, who's just taking a beating here and falling further and further behind in that top lane.
Yeah, now we see another gank
Rugpin.
attempt in the mid lane.
Yeah, but that's a Kassadin. You're not gonna really be doing much there, but Moto now coming in there with the smoke screen coming down, but not much happening there either. So yeah, both of the junglers just going back to their usual business, keep on farming, and we'll try another time, I guess.
Yeah, I think this Kassadin could be punished so hard for not having his flash. Sure, he now has his Rift Walk, but that has, on the first level, it has still an 8-second cooldown, so it's still a
Check now being caught up here by the quickness. Got Kumadasi, I'm so sorry. Those names. Moto now being caught up here with, ooh, that's a first blood now coming over to Rugpin here. Cheers to the red smite there, but Arno now coming in. Sleety also connecting there. They steal away the Rift Herald here. Rugpin now going down to the Kassadin here after what was a nice first blood there that was acquired, but now Kumadasi is being caught up yet again by Django's grand entrance right there. Words, ladies and gentlemen. Also takes the ignite, but he can stay safe in the end, and it's not going to be another kill over. So 1-for-1 here all across the map.
And I think SOS had some miscommunications because they went for the Herald, or they tried to finish the Herald without a smite up and with no priority in top lane. I mean, Rogeros was backing at his second tower and didn't even try to ult, didn't even give the Ornhorn to alleviate some pressure from his other two members of the team. So that's was the first blood pick-off was really good, but then they overstayed and were punished hardly for that.
Yeah, I mean, they could have just pulled back a little bit, let the Ornn maybe get into position, and then maybe even try to land another catch there onto the likes of Lausanne here. But as it stays, it is gonna be the 1-for-1 here, and but yet again they get the priority here in the bot lane. Kumadasi now being caught up here potentially, but nice hook there again, landing onto Hitokuro. He's throwing down the feathers, gets exhausted there. Moto now coming in. Django will be looking for another engage. He probably does not have the quickness up quite yet. They managed to scare them off for the moment, but that's another dragon that's now up, and the river control is firmly in the hands of Scythe of Sarah here. I'm just gonna call them SOS now. Nice flag and drag there, though coming in onto Django. He will go down. Certainly here falls to the hand of Kumadasi, who will be picking up his first kill here, and with that should just net them a free dragon here for their second drake of the game.
Yeah, it was really aggressive there to step so far forward for Django, and he even activated the lens to see if somebody is there, and he saw that J4 was there, didn't react in time, and got hit by all the CC that Rugpin Gumadasi and Alchak bring to the table, which is very much of CC.
I gotta say, man, SOS, they're really not doing us a favor, neither with their team name nor with their player names. They're just super hard to pronounce, especially when you have to do it rather quickly here. So quite a few tongue twisters here. We got a replay coming in here. Look at this alcove gameplay, ladies and gentlemen. Django here wants to scout, sees the Jarvan, but then it's already too late here, and Hitokura just sells him to the wolves there. Does not get to jump onto him with the battle lance there, and yeah, that's another kill going over to SOS here.
Yeah, but Lausanne is still 1k ahead. And that's mostly because of farm. Look at the top lane, there is already a 50 farm lead.
Oh, Arna now coming in,
Yamatsu
is stunned up. Yamatsu burns the flash here and stays safe underneath his tower. Feel free to continue, sorry for the interruption.
Yeah, Yamatsu was just getting attacked, but he has merely an advantage in mid lane. I mean, if you compare the goals, you surely would see that he's even a little bit behind, because Arno was able to pick up a kill there at around the Rift Herald. And Arno now already has his Rod of Ages completed, so that's pretty rough. I think that Scythe of Therath aren't doing the great job to punish that Kassadin, and they are Lausanne is greatly playing through top lane, where Sleety is already winning.
Sleety is playing through top lane. I think SOS for the most part just sitting there and watching while the Tentacle Priestess here is just taking Rogerius for a spin on that Ornn. He's up over 50 CS now, gets the first blood turret as well there with the previously stolen Rift Herald, and with that Motomoto also gets his take at Rockpin's topside jungle here. There's just nothing they really can do to contest this, and yeah, that Illaoi currently is really strong, but Rockpin yet again is sitting in the alcove here, ready to jump and collapse onto Hitokuro, who does have his flash up though.
Yeah, I think they are trying to hit Django again. Yeah, they were looking there with the dredge line if they can get the catch, but Rockpin still there, still trying to look if he can find something, but it seems like Lausanne smelled that there is something, some prince around, and they back off.
Yep, absolutely. So no prince roll there coming in or something. So Sleety is just yeah, he's having the day of his life. There's just a field day here in the top lane. He can just farm away. Motomoto keeps invading him and just farming up here. He's also up nearly 50 CS at this point over Rockpin. And yeah, he'll just be another win condition, I guess, here when we come to those mid-game fights with that Graves.
Yeah, and look here, top lane, Sleety, if he hits the Test of Spirit, which he hits practically every time, Rogeros can't win the trade, and that's how he can stomp that top lane so hard. But I don't know, Scythe of Therath are trying to play through bot lane, but don't achieve really much. I think they have to force a little bit more.
Yeah, I completely agree there. They should just be a little more decisive when it comes to their calls, because so far they have the matchup advantages so far, but just with them falling behind in farm more and more, nearly in every position here on the map, it just becomes so much harder to really play to the strength of their compositions. And yeah, I'm curious once we start seeing some fights how that's going to turn out. Yamatsu now being caught here. Motomoto and Arno get pushed back here. Yamatsu takes a lot of damage and falls to the hand of Arno here. And Rockpin can just limp his way out there. Tries to not die to their hands too. And look at Sleety. He's just uncontested here in the top lane. He's level 12, nearly has the tier 2 turret down already. And yeah, Rogerio is just being left to the wolves here.
Yeah, but both solo lanes, I feel, are losing on their own. And then also don't really get help. And now Lausanne is picking up that third Drake
Okay.
where SOS isn't in position and deny the soul point for like that, just easy.
And we've just had a quick sneak peek there at the gold of the individual players. Sleety is up 2.5k currently in that top side, but now he potentially gets caught out here, overstays his welcome there, gets shut down by Yametsu. He'll gladly
But
pick
he
that
got a
up.
kill back.
But
and bot lane
Kumadasi
is
now being caught out here. Hitokuro gets the kill onto him. Arno TP's in there. All check manages to Spider-Man out of harm's way here so far, but that's 4 people of Lausanne here now in the bot lane. Allcheck has to run for the hills. Can Arno catch up to him here? He goes a little low on mana. Django wants to go for another round with him, but Arno's like, nah, I'll rather farm. Let's just leave it be there and take the tower as well as that wave there. Yeah.
But what was that? I mean, bot lane from SOS were caught in a fight, which I think they even engaged, while 3 people of their own team were on top lane. What did they expect? That the enemies are not reacting? We can look at it again, but yeah, they even engaged that while 3 people of their own team are fighting on top lane.
Yeah.
That's something you're never allowed to do.
Absolutely. And, I mean,
And they get punished hardly for it.
and just look at that. Double TP even. Is it double TP coming? Oh no, it's just Graves
No.
walking down here. Motomoto just looking at them menacingly. But yeah, it was just one of these moments where it's like, I can land the hook, and then you just go in and don't really pay attention to the rest of the map and try to go for a fight here. Whereas they are behind. Never mind. Yametsu gets another shutdown here over to him, and it's not 2 shutdowns that he's picked up, so he's also quite fed at this point, I think.
Yeah, but I think he also made the wrong decision by going for the electrocute. Sure, he has a little bit more one-shot potential, but I think in that matchup you want to have the phase rush to have a chance to not get run down by Graves and Kassadin, which already happened once and can happen the whole game going on forward from now. And Kassadin now, because Sleety had so much pressure on top lane, has now a long lane where he can play and farm up and level up. And yeah, SOS failed to punish Kassadin. He's now 2-0 and already level 13, and as soon as he hits level 16, I don't see SOS winning
there
anymore.
We see it. Like, look at that. Just all the damage coming in here from Yametsu, and with the previous work here from Sleety, who has taken down 2 towers already. Never mind. More action there coming in the top lane. Nice engage there from the side of Lausanne. Django now dropping really low. Can flash out. Sleety managed to pick up a kill. He's a really strong tentacle lady here. Motomoto now just running them down here. Double kill over for the Ilaoi. Motomoto now looking for another kill. The Django falls to the tower, but in the meantime Hitokura manages to claim the outer turret in the mid lane, and then again Arno has the freest time of his life here. Hitokura is even looking for a second tier turret here in the mid now, and things have crumbled so fast here for SOS, and they really need to send that SOS signal out there now.
Yeah, I don't really know what their game plan was, but it should have been to focused in the early game, and they didn't do that, and now they pay hard for that. They are behind on every row.
Yeah, it looked like how do you say that? It looked like they were like Sleeping Beauty. Just that it's not that beautiful here. It was a really nice Ornhorn here, but they just did not really have the position. Look at Kumadasi. He's just on the complete opposite end here of the wall and can only use the moonshot here over the wall to try to look for some damage, and other than that he just gets absolutely nothing accomplished here. I mean, that could have been a triple kill here for the Aphelios, and in the end he only manages to pick up the kill there onto Django. Just an overall, I think, bit of a communication as well as positional error there from coming out from SOS.
Yeah, they had a numbers advantage, but because he was on the other side of the wall and wasn't committed enough to go around the wall or something, it was not really a numbers advantage
Okay,
because he
Django
got
now
like
here being
three-
potentially caught out. He goes in with the grand entrance there, activates the quickness as well. Rockpin committing onto Hitokuro there, uses the Cataclysm as well, but Hitokuro just turns around and takes him down, and now they're down one man. Rogerius now has to limp away to Gumadasi, does not connect with the ultimate really here, and look, Sleety, he's just full health and can run them down. He's incredibly fed at this point, 250 CS in his pocket. That's just a really, really strong Ilawi at this point.
Yeah, and he's already level 15. Rockpin went in, and I think he's as soon as he's coming up we will see it again, but I think he's like level 11 or something, so just the pure level difference makes such a big difference. Yeah, he's level 11, and yeah, SOS has no chance to contest this Baron. They now are trying to get maybe the Dragon, but yeah, I don't think the Cloud Soul will help. Will save them the game.
Lausanne just commits the teleport here in the bot lane to just ensure they are not even trying to go for that dragon at this point. And yeah, I mean, you saw it there when they picked up the Baron here on the side of Lausanne. They just have no control, and it looks like that's a bit the story of the game here. No control for SOS at this point. That's maybe their inexperience that shines through here. Lausanne just seems to be super relaxed here. They have their 3-0 Kassadin. They have Sleety that's already past the flame horizon on the top lane here, and SOS now just looking for a potential trap here, but Lausanne is so strong at this point. I mean, Django is the same level as Rockpin at this point, and that's just not the spot you really want to be in.
Yeah, and I mean, in this patch even the jungle experience got buffed, but because SO has lost their control over their whole jungle. I mean, look at the vision line from Lausanne.
Okay,
it's already in the enemy jungle. Yeah, now somebody maybe has a connection issue or something, but I think for me this game is already over, and Lausanne already won it, and I don't know. SOS had the superior draft, but they played it out. Are playing it out way worse than Lausanne.
I mean, yeah, you said it perfectly. Like the first 10-15 minutes, they were so slow. It felt like being caught in like a big ball of chewing gum essentially, and they had the tools. They knew like it was so obvious what they'd have to do here, and they just did nothing. And now it's like suddenly, oh damn, we have to win the game, but oh okay, yeah, the enemy Kassadin is already pretty fat and level 15 at this point. Ilawi is just unbeatable for anyone here in a side lane. What do we really do? Our tank jungler nearly gets one shot by their mid laner, just one rotation, and yeah, they're just running out of options really fast here. And I felt they've maybe overslept this a little bit when they still had a chance here to take this game away from Lausanne.
Yeah, and Lausanne is strong enough to just play 1-3-1. And they are able to win on every lane. Now they have to Lausanne has to respect that mid lane is no wave there, but I mean Arno is Kassadin with level 15. Now mid lane falls the inhibitor turret. They can back off.
That's it.
Arno goes in.
No. Just goes out. There's the unleash power onto Arno, but he does not care. Django maybe being caught up here. He falls to Gumadasi here. Hitokuro also gets caught out. Lets the feathers fly here. Flashes away, and Motomoto picks up the kill here onto Rockpin. But Sleety now in the back of everything. Everyone. Yamatsu falling to Motomoto too. He's really strong. Olczak also falls. Hitokuro gets picked up here by Gumadasi though. The Aphelios is still alive, but Arno seals his fate here, takes him down. Rogerius also now going down. That's the ace here coming over, and the double kill for Kassadin, and that's just gonna be game number 1 here over to Lausanne, I think. There we see the emotes coming out from the players. A bit of a BM here, but at this point I think a little deservedly so. I mean, it just felt too easy for them at the end here, and there wasn't really much that SOS really could do to come back into this game. Yeah, Olczak and Rockbin, I don't really think they can do much here against those super fat Lausanne members, and that's gonna be game number 1 here, 1-0 up for Lausanne over the likes of Scythe of Seraph here.
Yeah, Scythe of Theros have to reinvent themselves for the next game, because if they are playing another game like that, I don't see a chance for them.
No, absolutely
I think
not.
the drafting part was okay, was even good compared to Lausanne. Lausanne had a rather peculiar draft, but they were... I think this series, or at least this game, was a very big individual disparity between these two teams.
Yeah, absolutely. Like we mentioned it previously, like that it could be an advantage for like the anonymous members of SOS coming into this, but they looked so disheartened here. They were like, yeah, I don't really know. They had a good draft, so apparently they have been prepared, I'm guessing. But they didn't really seem to know what they then should do with the champions they got. They were just like sitting there on a park bench, nice sunny day, feeding the birds for a bit, and then yeah, let's just look what happens. But that's not how you're supposed to play League of Legends. You really have to you nearly have to get your foot on the gas pedal there and accelerate things if you want to avoid these scaling options here of just exploding in your face. And in the end, that's just what happened. I mean, look at Roderius. He's probably between salty and sour here from that top lane. He just got no help whatsoever, didn't even get the chance to ever rotate because there was just nothing happening for him. I mean, if you're in a lane that you're gonna lose anyways, you could just like let the tower fall and like look for a TP in the bot lane, get ahead there, and then look to create some pressure out of that. But not even that was possible because just nothing was happening. And if there was, it was just like these small individual skirmishes where that SOS oftentimes took when they weren't really in a position to. And Lausanne was just quicker to react and getting their members down to that bot lane, and it just went sideways for them super quickly.
And I mean, it was pretty obvious that Scythe of Theros had a plan to play through bot lane. I mean, Rugbin was practically only on mid lane and bot lane, and mostly bot lane, but with the decision that you give up top lane, and then you force one kill, I think, on the bot lane, aren't even able to push the platings or anything. It's just not what you wanna get if you do that decision. I mean, they didn't even bring Syndra with them, even though she had like perma wave control, would have had all the priority she needed, but they only sent Rugpin bot lane, and then they didn't achieve very much, and after that they seemed like they didn't know what to do. Lausanne said, yeah, we wanna scale anyways, top lane is winning, mid lane is scaling, bot lane is
also winning for them.
Lost one kill, so it's fine. So yeah, Lausanne could just wait out and
also
win from that low.
Like we haven't seen like too much out of Motomoto, but he also didn't really need to. He was just farming. I mean, Graves is more of a farming jungler, gets so much stronger, and like a Jarvan, especially a tank Jarvan, after 2 items, he's just not really a champion anymore. He just like a knock up and maybe an ult bot at some point, but like being down in levels, he does not farm well. He's just completely irrelevant then to the game, and at that point, Lausanne was just like, okay, we don't even need full steam here. We can probably go at a chill like 70% speed and just like push it in, play it slowly, play it cleanly, and take that first win. And we are standing now with a 1-0 for Lausanne over Scythe of Serra. So they really have to come up with something here coming into that game number 2. But until then, we're gonna head into a small break. Don't head anywhere. Get something nice to drink maybe, and we'll see you back in a minute. Cheers.
I rode it all along on your way right before it broke. Time was thrown down the well, so I let you go. What I do right now. What I do right now for you.
Start your esports career now at play.eslgaming.com.
Wir arbeiten schon viel. Und das darf auch sein. Es gehört halt auch dazu. Aber die Technik schafft heute auch viel. Immer mehr sogar. Die Luftfeuchtigkeit passt. Die Stauatmosphäre stimmt. Und wenn die Technik immer mehr schafft, könnten wir ja zwischendurch ein Kehr weniger krampfen. Oder etwa nicht.
You ready? Huh? Hey, he's a good boy, huh? You ready? Huh?
Start your esports career now at play.eslgaming.com.
Alright, and we are back here for game number 2 of tonight's League of Legends day number 3 of the Swisscom Hero League, powered by ESL and of course supported by our lovely sponsors Samsung and owned by HP. And together with me is once again my dear colleague Chef here. We had well, I want to say spectacular first game, but it really wasn't too exciting at the very beginning. It was just like a bit of a pushover, I felt. It was a bit of bullying, even.
Yeah. I actually didn't feel like I saw a sign of life from SOS. They tried some bits in the early game, but then it didn't really work out for them, and then they were just they got rolled over. They just
So the idea was
I don't
there,
know.
but the execution was less than lackluster at this point.
Yeah, I really hope that was a wake-up call for SOS and that they can show up in the second game. And I already also saw in the chat there is some support for SOS as well as for Lausanne, but yeah, SOS really needs energy and needs to step up their game if they want to compete
Morse
here.
code out there and send that SOS call to all the fans out there to ask for their support. They once again ask for their not financial but motivational support at this point, and I hope they can really step it up. And also just for us, like even if they were to go down in the second game here, that they at least get to show off a little bit why they are one of these new blood teams that made it here and why they deserve to be in this quarterfinals and to take Lausanne for a run at their money, basically.
Yeah, it felt too easy for Lausanne, and I just don't feel like they are on the same level, but I hope that they can show us here that they in fact are, and now we are already ready for the second draft, and we will see how they are gonna adapt. Lausanne now on the blue
I'm
side
curious
for
how
the
they're
second
gonna
game.
be adapting here yet again. We see the Yumi coming out as a first man hit there for Lausanne. I really hope to maybe also see Rockpin. There have been some people in chat calling out for him to get on more of a carry pick here rather than being put on Jarvan duty. You can certainly accomplish a lot but will fall off greatly come the mid and late game here. And there we see the Wukong ban now coming out for the side of Lausanne yet again. Vlad also being banned out, so they're more or less sticking to their bans so far by the looks of it.
Right.
Yeah, but I think SOS needs to do some adaptations, because for Lausanne I think it's fine to do just a run back, and up until now it's the same bans. Only that Caitlyn now is on this as the second ban. I'm also curious why they have such a high priority on banning Caitlyn. I mean, yeah, sure, she's not so bad, but if they leave Xayah Rakan open, that's a stronger lane than Caitlyn is. Maybe with a Morgana. Caitlyn Morgana is also a very strong lane, but I don't know. It doesn't feel like Caitlyn is so strong, but
Okay.
let's see how
This time SOS
can
is going to be
adapt
the one
here.
that bans out the Echo here, rather than Lausanne, who decides to go for a Rek'Sai ban right here and now. Of course, Xayah Rakan is open yet again, but this time on blue side you cannot lock that in first, so maybe SOS will decide to go for that themselves instead. But it's Sleety here who gets the first pick. Will we see the set or the... yeah.
Maybe a Lee Sin?
There it is.
Oh, Set, yeah.
Yeah.
Set, I
Yeah.
think he was open the whole
The
game
lovely
last
Vestian
time, so
beauty
uh,
that we've seen come up time and time again here. It would have been also a really great matchup, I feel, for Sleety into the Ornn there. Could have maybe even had more impact there, especially with that Blade of the Ruin King build. Yeah, but this time, oh, SOS switching it up here quite a bit. There's a Rumble now coming in for them as in the first rotation.
yeah, but I mean, Lausanne will just pick up Xayah Rakan again, I think. Xayah Rakan up again. And I think that's already, again, it's an advantage for Lausanne for picking up Set, Xayah, and Rakan. If they are able... Oh, but Rakan
Okay
or
there,
SOS
okay
picking the
there.
Draven.
League of Draven tonight. That's certainly gonna make it tougher here, and I like that quite a bit better here than the Aphelios, because I gotta say, I feel Aphelios is just so overhyped at the moment. I mean, he's seen so many nerfs here, and also just like people and teams adapting to playing against him. He's not really in that ridiculous state he used to be. He's actually, I'd consider him even on the weaker side at the moment. I mean, you still have the MF that's super strong. You have Saya, who's also been buffed. You have Ezreal, who's also always a super strong and efficient laner. That's just also so much safer, because always when you draft that Aphelios, you really have to draft around him. You have to look that you can keep him safe, that you get him to scale. You really have to get him to like 3 items. So it's just a big pain, you know, and you don't really want that.
Yeah, but Draven is also an interesting pick, because Draven is one of these picks that has to get ahead in the early game. Together with the Leona, it is possible, and Leona is also not bad into a Nautilus. And yeah, that's I'm interested in how Lausanne is gonna play that one out. I mean, Ezreal is
Oh,
one of the
a little
safest
bit of a crash there.
AD carries we have, and we seem to have. Yeah, but the point I was going for is that Ezreal is a super safe laner, and you can just leave him alone on the bot lane and let Nautilus roam wherever he wants. And yeah, when Draven can't get his kills in the early
Or like
game,
ever,
or
you
I
just
mean,
yeah,
it's
yeah.
with
You
his
just want
adoration
or have to
stacks.
cash in these
If he
stacks at some
can't,
point.
yeah, if he can't cash in these stacks, he's
But
worse than
but
many other AD carries.
I mean, Draven, he's always been kind of a niche pick. We've seen him come out sometimes. I mean, we've seen him here in the Swisscom Hero League, played especially by like Golden God. He's whipped it out a couple of times. We also see it sometimes in the LEC, I think. We see him come up time and time again, and now he has like this new build where he goes for the Muramana, as well as like a Dusk Blade plus Rapid Fire Cannon, and sometimes I think even with the new Death Stance, if I'm not mistaken, where he just has such insane damage with all that lethality coming through, and he can hurt quite a bit. So we could see that one coming in here, and maybe that helps them as well. And I think his transition will just be smoother rather than what you previously, when you just built like the Bloodthirster and then into crit from there.
Who questions my ability?
But if they are going into the mid game in a more or less even state, I think the Ezreal can just do more, because Ezreal doesn't have to commit to put out his damage. Draven, yeah, he needs to get in range and needs to commit to the fight to dish out his damage, and yeah, then he can also be caught off pretty easily by a Nautilus, by a Zed, and yeah, it's difficult to play around. But also interesting is the Rumble. Rumble has very strong team fighting with his equalizer, with his flamethrower. So there are possibilities for SOS to play team fights. But I'm interested to see how they are gonna round out these compositions.
Oh, there it is.
They are taking their time with the picks, even though they are
Maybe
already
they
fixed.
take the
So
time to discuss what they can lock in
yeah,
after. I quickly pulled up the build here. The build is actually, it's Mana Mune into Sanguine Blade, Dusk Blade of Drakthar, Lord Dominic's Regard, and then you can like slot in a GA, Rapid Fire Cannon, or even a Bloodthirster if you want even more sustain, and you run like the hail of blades for the most part. So can be super strong here. Has the lifesteal coming in, and also with the Sanguine Blade you can just be super strong, especially when you're like farming these sideways. You become really hard to duel there. So I'm curious whether we see that, or whether Umadasi will just go for like the classic old school Draven build, or what we're gonna see out of him here.
yeah. I'm also interested to see. Oh, that's the Leona was maybe a pick that wasn't intentional, and because of that we had to remake it. So now we see the Thresh. I like the Thresh a little bit more because with his Dark Passage he can help that Draven reposition when he's maybe somewhat out of position. Now SOS is banning out the Kassadin.
Yep.
They don't want to face that again.
Yeah, now the bans coming in, it's gonna be the Kassadin here, as well as the Jarvan, as you already said. They just basically targeting what they've seen from them last game. They also want to target Sleety split push potential here yet again. Camille is gonna go down as well, and they seem to really like to smaller Rockpin's champion pool here with the Olaf ban as well, so they really don't want him to carry this one. I was also quite surprised, to
Yeah.
be honest, that they
Um,
decided to ban out the Echo here themselves. Or now is being hovered, but okay.
yeah, Set has a pretty good time against the Norn, so yeah,
Well, it could
that's
still be it. It
Rogerius
could still be
as
the Ornn going to the mid lane.
yeah, but I mean, Lausanne could also
That's
just swap the Set into the mid lane, so they have the freedom to just match up the Set against the Ornn.
Oh
and,
my gosh!
Yeah, as I
Okay,
said,
I'm sorry.
Oh,
Yeah,
and Nidalee.
definitely.
Interesting pick. They are going again for a solo queue pick, but I mean,
Yeah,
it worked out
absolutely.
last
And
time. Why
I
not
mean,
try it
we've seen
again?
her coming sometimes in like some niche scenarios. She's even been picked up competitively here in the past. And there is the Irelia, so a lot of physical damage here coming in from the side of Lausanne here actually. Besides that, Nidalee, essentially everyone is dealing physical damage here. That of course makes the Ornn a super strong pick here.
Yeah, now that the Trundle is being hovered as the last pick, Trundle is actually very good against
There
tanks,
is
but
none.
there is like one semi-tank as the support on Lausanne's side, so I don't really see why they are
I would have
picking
loved
up
to see like a
Trundle.
Sejuani here, I gotta be honest.
Yeah, I don't know. Sejuani doesn't have the best setup in that game, but now we are stuck with that draft. For now, yeah, Rogerius is going again with the Ornn, so Sleety can again beat down maybe on that Ornn, get another round at it, and yeah, I feel like SOS is sticking to somewhat meta picks, and I'm not sure if that's
well,
the way to go
I
for
mean,
them.
with the Draven, they are trying something different here. They do not have the exhaust though, and I think that's gonna be can be a little risky here. I mean, I really like to see the new exhaust. Sometimes it's even run as a 2-off in the bottom lane, and that can just shut down your opposition super well, and especially in this case here, because essentially everyone on Lausanne has the potential to really pop off here in a skirmish. You have the set that is just gonna be so strong, especially if you get such a more or less a free matchup here into the Ornn. It's just super hard. But don't get me wrong. I mean, Ornn still has potential to maybe get some early cheeky picks there, especially together with his jungler. But also the Nidalee is just so strong, and I expect nothing less here from Motomoto than just a really strong power play here out of him after that first game on the Graves. But then again, also the Irelia can be so strong. I mean, Arno has probably played her a ton, also in the top lane. It's just not gonna be easy, especially in a low mobility AD carry like the Draven here.
Yeah, I don't. I mean, SOS has good team fight ultimates with that Rumble equalizer, with the Ornn Horn. So they have potential, but they really need to step up their game in the early game, because that's where they already lost so much in the first game. But let's see how it's gonna play
No
out
big
now
action
here in
early.
the second game.
Hitokuro even opted in to go for the teleport again, so a bit of a nearly of a disrespect here from him. He's just like, okay, yeah, I'll probably just gonna be playing weak side here for a bit, but will nevertheless have some good recall timings. Going for that, he'll just be able to farm up super efficiently, and maybe even pressure Gumadasi into like a bad recall where he can get an advantage here, and he already gets a Q off there onto all check.
Yeah, what I'm also what is also very interesting is Yametsu is running the Conqueror on the Rumble. Most times
Yeah.
you see
Or
the
Predator.
Comet because he has but he has good ways to reset the Comet, but he decides for the Conqueror. I don't think that's the right
No, I don't.
choice against the Irelia,
I gotta
but let's
agree
see
with
how
you
it's
there,
gonna play
especially
out.
early when you could maybe look to pressure her out of lane here. And with the Conqueror, you're more looking at some potential drawn out fights, which is usually a really bad idea against an Irelia because with her passive stack, she's just gonna get so much pressure off onto you. And Rogerius is just gonna be in a painful state in this top lane here, probably once again, but get some damage back there. All check there. They're just throwing down some emotes here. They just probably want to taunt them a little bit and maybe bait them in for like a bad play there with no combat summoner on Hitakuro.
Yeah, and now Arno is placing a ward at the Raptors to try and see what path Rockpin is going for, and seeing that they are down and they will stay down for a while because Rockpin is now going at his blue buff. They will know for sure that he is in the bot side of the jungle.
Already going down a bit of CS here in the early game here against the Irelia, so he's not really pushing his advantage here that he has against her early. But Motomoto is now already in the mid lane here to pounce onto Yametsu. There does not get the trap down in time. Yametsu just manages to get out of there unharmed. It's actually the Dark Harvest here on Motomoto on that Nidalee, and Rockpin now making his way around the corner here. Yametsu is also coming down. Everybody just collapsing on the poor little scuttlecraft there. That it will certainly go over to SOS here.
Yeah, that was very greedy from Motomoto to try to go for the bot lane scuttle with his bot lane shoved into their tower and having no way to be able to contest there, but Motomoto can just quickly
nice
rotate up
there
towards the top side where he has priority.
Aftershock is down now. Quite a bit of damage coming out there from Kumadasi. Rockpin now chilling in the mid on the sides here, but nothing more will come of that. But look at this, Yametsu is already down more than 10 CS there over against the Irelia. That's not really the thing you're looking for.
Yeah, and I'm interested to see how it's gonna go further like this. I mean,
Arno now very aggressively here into the enemy minion wave. Arno, what are you doing? I was just about to say that Yametsu is not really pressuring the innate advantages that this matchup has for him, but Arno just helping him out there and just running into him, basically saying, look, you can just beat me up, I'm even gonna dive an entire minion wave there for you. So yeah, that happened.
Yeah, and yeah, now he has to use the teleport relatively early. Motomoto is coming again for a gank, but nice dodge from Yametsu. The stun lands,
a bit like
but
disrespect here from Lausanne at this point.
Yeah, I mean, they aren't really playing a plan right now. They are just trying to catch out and see if they find somebody out of position. And Arno is now out of position, but does only lose his ward in the bottom side.
Just throw some tools at SOS and see what sticks, especially after they have not really been performing in game number 1 here, but already, like right from the start, they're looking a lot more decisive here, if I can already say that here in game number 2, especially with like bot lane now rotating up, securing another early Drake here for them. But then on the other hand, like with that dragon going down, Motomoto just immediately makes his way into the enemy jungle there. And look at this, Rogerius is just super overextended at this point, while his jungler's on the bot side, so he could be collapsed on. They're up in the top. Gumadasi now looking for those turret platings. Death Sentence now lands onto Django there. Gets slowed down, and that's turret plating number 1 here. That's also one thing we have not really been seeing much in the first game. Besides Sleety, nobody really pressured aggressively for those turret plates.
Yeah, but that's surely that's the matchup. Draven is very strong in that early game phase, and Ezreal, yeah, he has the tier, so he has not really something that helps him right now. So Arno now tries to fight again and wins the trade slightly, but doesn't change very much. We see now, another fight, but
there.
nothing's gonna
Saving
happen.
Gumadasi there from being collapsed upon by Motomoto, who's in the bot lane yet again. This time up in the farm department quite a bit, but look at the mid lane matchup. He is down, Yametsu is down 25 CS at this point against an Irelia. That is quite painful here.
Yeah, but he was able to get a recall off without using the teleport. Now Sleety is trying to find Rugpin, but gets good damage down, but can't catch him because of a good pillar.
I mean, Set's strength aren't really his outstanding mobility, so he cannot catch up there onto him. Rugpin also decides to go for the Tiamat there, so bit of a greedy build there to just not go for the Cinder Hulk right away, but rather go for some early clearing tools there.
Yeah, I mean it increases his clear speed greatly, but yeah, the fighting is harder if you go for the early Tiamat, and well, until now the early game was pretty quiet, so maybe it's the right choice here.
He has the Bramble West already in the top lane. Rodriguez has that Bramble West already, so he can be relatively safely. There Arno now looking for another engage onto Yametsu, eats a tower shot there, uses the ultimate right there and flashes in for the kill there, but he will go down to the turret, trades over the kill right there, and that's first blood over to Arno, but a kill back there for Yametsu, who now has the teleport and will come back to a pretty big wave there, so he can maybe do some catching up there that he desperately needs.
I feel it's still a good trade for Arno there.
Not going to be faced by that. They now engage upon Olczak, but gets the ignite there. Rogerius with a nice TP coming in there. Ornhor coming down. Hitokurina being caught underneath the tower there. Tries to flash away. Rogerius falls to the turret though. Nautilus picking up that kill. Rockpin now gets hit by the turret as well, and Gumadasi also falls to it. Double kill over to the Nautilus, but they managed to get both the kills down there. I'm not entirely sure whether that was 100% worth it, and Lawson with the Herald being picked up here by Motomoto looks for that top lane turret early here. Okay.
Yeah, we'll see the first blood again. Arno now they're taking already his first tower shot because he lands behind Yametsu with his Q, but then flashes after him.
That was just like
kill.
Not necessary.
He
could have just forced him off the wave there, pushed for some turret platings and let those two huge waves just crash into the tower, but he was like, no, I want the first blood on the board here, and I'm gonna flash in for that one. And Yametsu yet again, like he was like trading outside of his tower with just his auto attacks while being overheated. So something tells me he's not really familiar with like the matchup in the mid lane there. But Django now is being called out, and Olczak claims that kill. Sorry, continue.
I mean, when he's overheated, he can't do really much else than just put in these auto attacks, which deal quite a lot of damage when he's overheated. But it's yeah, the Irelia beats him up pretty well, even if his
Yeah,
auto
and
attacks
now
deal a little
SOS
bit more
looks for
damage.
another dragon here. Sleety has moved down on his set here. Motomoto now is also in position, fishing with his spears here, while the Ruckpin manages to secure it with his might. There's a swirling death coming out. Gumadasi there manages to get the kill here, but Hitokura now coming in, takes a double kill here over, and the Nidalee managed to secure kill number 3 here. So 4 for 1 in terms of trades, in terms of kills here. Like, do you really want to give up 4 kills for a dragon and the Cloud Drake of all things? That looked a bit suboptimal here as well from the side of SOS.
Yeah, and Lausanne are getting so many plates on the back of these plays that SOS are forcing. I mean, I like that they are forcing more. We see here the replay again for around that dragon and Yametsu there.
And this should be the moment where they just disengage. But Olczak lands the hook here and they just jump back in. They don't have a rumble ulti. Sleety just ends all their hopes and dreams here with the showstopper. And yeah, that's it's gonna be quite a big loss here for the side of Seraph. In the meantime, Sleety, although he has gone down himself, to a little bit of action here in the bot lane, but now nice route there onto Ruckpin. Motomoto will be claiming that kill. It's just a slugfest here. Kills going back and forth, and Rogerius is now also being potentially caught out for the dark passage that gets him out. Gumadasi now also being caught out here, falls to the Ezreal, and Hitokura is now sitting pretty at 3 kills already.
Yeah, and Kumadasi doesn't get his cash in. He now is 0-3-5. He was there at 5 kills, but he never got the kill himself, so he never was able to cash in.
Depth charge there. Rogerius though gets the knockup onto Hitokura. He will get the kill though with the last arcane shot there onto him. He just takes another kill. 4 kills on the Ezreal, that is also up about 20 CS at this point, and has claimed like 3 platings at this point. That's just, yeah, that's not gonna be pretty.
Yeah, I mean, just alone in the platings,
look at this.
Lausanne has a very big lead. Now the platings are falling
Arno
off.
now,
and
he's going quite aggressive, but there's gonna be the showstopper picking up the rumble, slamming him into the ground. That's another kill going over to the side of Lausanne, who will extend their lead to a 5k gold lead at 14 minutes already. This is just like, I mean, they showed some more signs of life, but Lausanne is just like, nah man, we're gonna be taking this home. You're not gonna get anything out of this.
Yeah, I mean, Lausanne is playing very aggressive, and so is SOS, but Lausanne is getting out on top every time, and they got so much plating gold. They now have a 4 kill lead and also a turret lead, and the map is starting to open up for Lausanne, and it's getting harder for SOS to get resources on this map.
A bit of a I was a bit afraid, because I was like, okay, is this gonna be another instance where he just uses his death sentence and just flies in without his team? Yeah, looks like
he's
it.
Going to die now.
There's the dredge line. Depth chart also coming in onto the Draven. He uses his whirling death, but goes quite low already. Sleety now being taken down by Gumadasi. Nice TP there coming in from Yametsu. Motomoto is very low. Will they give the kill over to the Draven here? That's a double kill coming over to him. He picks up the double buffs. Now Yametsu will cover up his jungler's back here. Gumadasi is now rather low and overextended here, but he manages to get out with a nice flash there. Another flame splitter now coming down from Yametsu, and that's another kill. They're going over to the Draven. Now 3 kills over to this to this Noxus legend here. Yeah, I think you'll take that when you're Scythe.
Yeah, sure. That was a very good trade from them,
Oh,
and
okay.
we will
In the
see that
meantime.
again in the
True.
replay. Oh no! In the meantime,
Rodriguez
top
also
lane
died
dive
here. He
1v1.
used the flash to get out of the
Okay.
flawless duet there. Arno flashing after him and picking up the kill there. But yeah, I mean, that is one alleyway to get back into the game. I mean, get some items and some gold onto your Draven. He now has the Bloodthirster, at least, so he does not go for the Manamune build here. By the looks of it, that was a really good TP there though, coming out from Yametsu, who at this point is still really low in the farm department, I gotta say. Gets me a little worried.
Yeah. It's in the farm department. Yametsu is so far behind. That should never happen. Especially Rumble is one of the picks that, with the electro harpoons, you are able to pick up farm pretty easily, even when you are zoned
Rockpin
out
now
a little
running
bit.
in by
Now
himself there a
Lozan
little
is
bit.
going
Uses the
for the
subjugate.
dragon.
Sleety jumping in with a nice showstopper there. Charges the Haymaker. Gets a lot of damage in. That's already 3 kills over to Lozan. Will they be managing to clean up Gumadasi as well? That's a clean ace. They're only having to sacrifice Arno there, and that quadra kill over to the Ezreal. Oh my gosh. Well,
That's not a
yes,
clean
okay.
ace of
Never
saving
mind.
somebody.
It's like I'd call that clean. If you only have your mid laner that's just diving too deep, then it's still clean. He killed himself.
Yeah, yeah.
Look
and
at
on
this.
the back of that, Lausanne is picking up 2 towers. They got the dragon, and they got all the ultimates down. SOS is funneling there into that ramp and getting caught off hard. All the ultimates land, and Gumadasi is positioning quite well, but then greeds for that 1 kill and dies
Yeah.
to the
And,
rest
I
of
mean,
the team for
They
that.
were not, let's be honest, they were not in position to take that fight. But Rockpin just ran in there, never mind. Akumadasi takes another kill here onto an overextended Sleety at this point. But they're already so far behind here. I mean, nearly 7.5k of a gold lead here for Lausanne at the moment. And the Ezreal just picked up a quadra kill. I mean, he's about to finish his 3rd item here, while Draven has a BF sword and the Bloodthirster, and that's about it. So, not really the state you want to be in against the likes of an Ezreal here.
Yeah, and what's worrying me too is Arno on his Irelia is now, I think he is able to finish his Wet Sand. Yeah, he just finished it right now. And with the Wet Sand and the Blade of the Rune King, neither Yametsu nor Rogerius can face him on this side lanes. And Lausanne will be able to just play a 1-3-1. And yeah, I mean, Sleety will probably face Rogerus and Yametsu will have to face Arno, but both of them are losing these
and
matchups.
I personally think, like, when we look at where did this really go wrong, can you maybe give us, like, walk us through what potentially SOS could have done better here, because they are looking to probably lose this game again.
Yeah, I mean, it's not completely over yet. They can still try to look for something. They have still some good teamfight ultimates. But I think they just needed to do more on that bot lane to get that Draven ahead. Because, yeah, sure, now in the past few minutes he was able to pick up some kills. But look at Hikdokura, he's so far ahead that the gold influx that Draven can get with his adoration stacks don't really matter anymore.
Like they are lacking quite a bit of front line on the side of SOS. Look at this Rockpin just getting caught out here yet again. I mean, Yeah, we touched on this earlier. Like Tiamat, yeah, you can go for that if you manage to pick up like 2 or 3 kills early and just want to run like, over the entire map and just keep pressuring. But he was not really in a state for that, and now he's missing those 1325 gold when it comes to tank stats. We saw it in the dragon fight earlier. He ran in there and he just melted like butter.
Yeah, and Lausanne now starting off the Baron immediately. That's very ballsy. I mean, sure, Rugpin had to reset, but he's already here
Okay.
again. So I don't see Lausanne doing that Baron, and they also decide that that's not the right call. But I think they should send Arno to the bot lane. I mean, he has his TP even up, and just push there. The inhibitor tower is already quite low, and just whittle that inhibitor tower down and force SOS to do something, because the Lausanne is in such a commanding position that they don't actually have to force. They can just wait it out.
Have a bit of a laugh. I mean, SOS trying to go for an ARAM here, but Hitokuro just clears out the minions and is like, okay, so what you gonna do now? Because they have to wait such a long time with already 2 turrets being down in that mid lane. You're just not gonna get your minion waves in place in time, but all check is now being called out, uses the flash early there.
Check.
Flawless Threat does not connect onto him, tries to land the death sentence there, but gets nothing so far. And Yametsu is in the top lane. Lausanne decides to commit the TP here. The Rumble is moving down. Rugpin doing the same thing again, where he just runs forward, gets slammed back into the team with the showstopper. This is just rinse and repeat of what went wrong earlier, but there's the shutdown coming over from the assassin Ornn there going over, but Arno also falls here to the likes of Rugpin there. I did not expect that outcome from that fight, so very nice commitment there. Motomoto now looking for some more action there, maybe to land another kill. Yametsu has made his way down here with the TP as well, and Django now moving back in. Yametsu just really wants to chase down Motomoto. Rugpin now coming back in here. Yametsu gets hooked up and takes a lot of damage there from the Nidalee, who's going to be fishing with another spear. The electric harpoon is landing on Motomoto. Will the spear land? And that's gonna be the kill over to the Nidalee. Yeah, talk about an overstay here.
Yeah, but we have to look at that fight again.
Kumarasi just runs into the enemy team here and is like, oh no, I don't want to live anyways. And Olczak now connecting another death sentence there, but Arno does not take turret aggro there. Goes in now though, and yeah, Rogerio just melts to his hands here. That's gonna be an inhib going down now in the mid lane, and a 9k gold lead in the meantime for Lausanne. Look at this.
Yeah, but look here, the combination between the Ornn horn and the equalizer. Hitokuro gets melted away.
That was just the Ornn.
Wait.
Okay.
Ah no, it was the knock up from the knock up from the searing charge that locked Hitokuro in place for the equalizer to burn him down.
Okay.
And this time the little ramp was an advantage for SOS, but in the meantime, Lausanne is picking up, the Baron is picking up, yeah, more kills, and they are resetting, and I think after that reset they can already look for the end. They are now nearly
we have a little bit of double up there on our
ahead.
camera work there. I hope you can forgive us that. We're going to be correcting that in a minute, hopefully. But overall, I mean, I had such a deja vu in that fight. Like, it looked just like the previous dragon fight where Rugpin was just running in with basically only the Cinder Hulk there, putting down his pillar while the dragon was basically already gone. He was overextended, and then Sleety just yeeting him back into the team with the showstopper and basically killing everyone. Here we see it again, like, yeah,
oh
it's
God.
like
He's
he
so
has
squishy.
nothing. He has absolutely nothing. And then Olczak was also still staying there, but falls down as well. They really were not in position to go for any fight of any sorts there. And all check now, being a bit out of position here again, but it's gonna be Yametsu that's going down. Kumadasi manages to run out, and look at that! Oh my gosh, the Mystic Shot plus the Nida Spear here just does so much damage, and Motomoto is now styling on them, picks up the double killer, goes for a turret dive there under the next turret. I don't know if you really want to do that, but he stays alive with the stopwatch now. That's gonna be the ace now, going over to Lausanne. So they're just in a good mood at this point. They take down the other two remaining inhibs, and I think they'll just be looking for the end right here. And okay, we're back at the camera. Okay, we'll have to wait for the end until we transition. But that's just gonna be the clean 2-0 by the looks of it here for Lausanne. They make it quick, they make it clean-ish, but certainly very, very convincing. I mean, it was like
scrappy game.
Usually, yeah. Usually you're like,
but
don't beat on a dead horse, but that dead horse was beaten really badly here, and yeah, just not a pretty look here for side of Seraph.
I mean,
yeah.
I like the second game more from
That's
them
true.
because
That's
they
true.
did something, but it was still no match for Lausanne, and they made this series pretty quick. Got the 2-0, and they advance to face off the winner of tomorrow.
Like the second game in a nutshell was like, okay, they got up after a pretty bad beating. They got up onto their feet again for the first like 12-15 minutes, and then they just tripped over their shoelaces, fell flat on their face, and got run over like 3 times.
Yeah, I mean, no, SOS had some better fights, but the thing is they had the fights somewhat under control, but the map state was all Lausanne. They got all the platings. Each time they fought, they got the turret or a neutral objective, and SOS, they picked up some kills but never got something out of it, and that was the very big difference between those two teams, because yeah, these kills, surely they help you a little bit to come back, but when you die and then lose a turret, you lose so much. Also, just pressure on the map.
The kills SOS managed to get were mostly due to just like Sleety, for example, overstaying and just was like, okay, we want a team fight, so I'm just gonna push for a bit. I want to catch 1 or 2 waves, maybe even pressure the turret a bit, and everyone has already respawned, and then they collapsed onto him like with a 3 or 4 man squad, or they just like went in a little too ham, especially like Motomoto at some point, and also Sleety. But when it came to like the objective play, and as you said, like the map state in general, they just didn't look good. Like especially those 2 dragon fights around the mountain dragons. They were just like, okay, we're too late. We don't have rear control. We don't have the wave set up. Just leave it. Just go. You're not under any threat that they would get like a soul anytime soon. You got the first 2 dragons, so they need 4 until they are at that soul, and then it's not even too bad because they're not really building resistances on Lausanne. So just let it go. Get some farm onto your team members. Push out the side waves. Get some vision maybe around the Baron area, and then take it from there. But like instead they just decide to like run in, get themselves clinched in like in between the dragon pit and their bottom side jungle, and then it's just like, yeah, not Sleety but Yeety just coming in with like the showstoppers twice, and it's like, what you gonna do? You're Ezreal picking up a quadra kill in the second game. In the second fight he would have also popped off if it wasn't like for Rogerio's knock up together with the edge of the equalizer. They're taking him down, but even then they lost that fight too, and yeah, just overall not a very convincing performance here, I gotta say.
No, but something I found very interesting was that Lausanne showed one little pattern, namely that they let the first two dragons go without contention, and then for the third dragon they are contesting, and from there on out they are contesting every time. Maybe that's a pattern that you can abuse maybe in the semifinals. Arctic Gaming or Recast Gaming, who will face off against them, maybe can look into that and see if they can punish something there, because I think Lausanne did intentionally let these dragons go to power up themselves, and it worked out very fine against SOS. And I'm interested if that's a strong strategy in general for Lausanne, or
Yeah,
if it was
absolutely,
just
yeah.
for SOS.
Yeah, overall, I mean, we have to say it was a deserved win here for Lausanne, but as we mentioned before, they have not looked clean.
Yeah, for sure.
Whether that was to some disarray maybe within their own lines, or just that they realized that they are like far superior when it comes to just like the laning phase already, and they got advantages so super early that they weren't like 100% serious anymore, because they could just like take it like with a low pace mode, but overall it was certainly deserved from them. And for Scythe of Seraph, I mean, it was good practice to go up like against a very strong and team with a lot of experienced players, and to maybe point out some of their flaws, and to have something they can look at, they can like reflect upon and see where things maybe went wrong and where they could have made different decisions. Maybe also some adaptations in their builds or rune setups, as you said, like in game number 1 with the Syndra there. And yeah, where I think it's also like a good point for a new and less experienced team to see where your weaknesses lie and where you can improve.
Yeah, for sure, they can surely learn out of that. But now we will take a look at the bracket, now updated after that game. And yeah, we now see that Lausanne is in the semi-finals, waiting for the winner of tomorrow, and then on Thursday they will face off against the coming winner of tomorrow's match. Yeah, I think they really had a good showing today. The thing that we were maybe a little bit worried about that is that their team play isn't on top, but it was pretty good. I mean, they had some very good rotations, good decision making.
Yeah, but then again, like the team fights weren't too much on a knife's edge. They were at the state where they were usually already ahead by like 5, 7, or even 10k. So at that point, there's a lot of more leeway to make mistakes, and like a team like that, even with a lot of experienced player, you will really will be put to the test once you're up against a team that's maybe even with you, or even you're behind like 2 to 3,000 gold. Then it's going to be really important to get some structured team fights and smart decisions when going for those fights. And like at times we saw them a little bit too deep in there, but like as I said before, that could have just been to them realizing how far ahead they were. So yeah, I'm certainly curious what we're going to be seeing out of Arctic and Recast Gaming tomorrow, who will then be facing off against Lausanne, the winner of today. And fun fact, it was another 2-0, so yet again, only one of the matches, the one between Fragbox and Silent Gaming, that went all the way to a 3-game length. And yeah, hopefully we'll get 3 games even tomorrow. We'll have to see though.
Yeah, I'm super interested what Arctic and Recast can bring to the table tomorrow. I hope it's more of a competitive series. Until now it was, I think, Silent Gaming versus Fragbox was the only close series. The rest, first series, and today was rather one-sided. So I would like again a close series.
Yeah, I mean,
with
I'd
Arctic
certainly be down for
against
that as well,
Recast.
because so far, like between MYI and Flame, it was quite one-sided. Then Silent against Fragbox was like super interesting and rather close, I'd say. Today was once again like quite a bit of a domination show, and then hopefully tomorrow we'll be able to go the full length yet again. But then on Thursday it's gonna be the big part where we have our two semi-finals coming up. The first one on Thursday, that is, and the second one right the following day on Friday. And whoever is going to be taking the win there will be facing off against each other in our grand finale here of season 3. That's going to be coming up on the 2nd of May, and I hope you already enter that into your agenda, highlighted like with all the pretty colors you can find. You can even like do some drawing around it. You'll still have time while we're still on lockdown here in Switzerland. So yeah, look, already now super stoked for that one to come up soon.
Yeah, and we are even installing a virtual crowd, so you can, send in a picture or a video from of you cheering, so we can have somewhat of an online crowd, as we have to do the finals online too because of the current situation. But we will try to bring you the best atmosphere possible, and you can help with that. So we would really enjoy if you could do that, and
Yeah,
we are
definitely
looking
so.
forward to that.
With that, we are unfortunately already at the end here of tonight's cast here. Any last words from your side until tomorrow at least?
No, we think we are.
Oh yeah, true. I always
going
forget
into
our
some
highlights. Damn. So yeah, we'll should get those up and running, and have a look at again these fights we've had this series so far, and
Yeah, I think they are coming up shortly, but what do you think if you now would compare Lausanne to the other two teams that are already qualified into the semifinals? How would you put them power-wise?
I gotta say, like
strength-wise?
they have looked strong individually, and like in these small skirmishes, they looked like strong and convincing, and also like in terms of their decision making when it came to the map state. But like overall, I really didn't like the drafts they came out with. Like also like game
Yeah.
number 1 was just
Yeah.
super cheesy essentially. That could have gone well. You can't like you can do that against a weaker team, but against a team that is even stronger than you in terms of individual skill set and performance, you will be punished, and you will probably be put behind quite far with a draft like that. And then in the second game, they essentially just opted for full AD damage, besides the Nidalee, who will fall off immensely after 2 items. And yeah, that like they were lucky that that essentially SOS gave them the win by going for these super bad fights. But like if they don't get ahead in that scenario and the Orange just farms away, gets his 3 armor items, there's just no way you're ever gonna kill the Orange, and he's just gonna be all in your face and running you over. And then you have like the Shy scenario where he went like 4v1 in this spring split. I don't know how many people saw that game, but yeah, drafting certainly can be improved. I felt a bit of a disrespect coming out from there. But now let's jump into our highlights here, actually. Okay, or back to us. So throwing the question back to you, where would you rank them in terms of strength of weaknesses? We're the highlights.
Yeah. Well, we are trying to fix the highlights, but in the meantime, I think the point you made with the draft surely is a strong point, but I think they were toying around a little bit. I think they made some good macro showing. They really showed that they are able to play around the plan they made, but I feel like they were super in the comfort zone. But now we are jumping into the highlights and we are gonna look what this series was like.
Have like the last stand here a bit from SOS, where Sleet, he just ended them after they got a few picks there, and then Arno here jumping in from the side, and there was just nothing. And at this point, it's just like slapping them with their wallets, as you can say, and where it's just like, yeah, okay, it's like, I don't know, shooting ducks that can't fly anymore. Yeah, true.
Shooting
No
a fish in a
gangplank in this
barrel.
game. And here, yeah, the duel here in mid lane where Yamatsu stayed a bit too far out there, arguably, and then Arno was just like, okay, be emote, and I just want the first blood at this point. Yeah. Oh,
Yeah,
we're getting
but he
rat
dies
out.
for it.
That's nice. But then here, okay, they got the dragon here, and then Sleety just ends their hopes here with a beautiful showstopper in the middle of everybody, and yeah.
And it was even close that it would have been even harder because Irelia went down just moments before she could have blade surged around, because she had, I think, 3 or 4 people with her Vanguard's edge, and she can get so much health back if she can blade surge to so many people. But luckily she got shut down before that, but it didn't even matter. And yeah, Lausanne just rolled over them, as you saw
if you
in
could
most
get,
of these
give
clips.
any advice to like Scythe, how they could improve after these 2 games, what would you like tell them, or where should they put their focus on? Okay.
Individually, just laning. I mean, they fell off already so bad in the laning phase that that's something you have to improve a little bit. But as the team, it's go more for something like in the second game. There they at least tried stuff, and that's you have to do that often to see where the limits are and to get a feeling for when you can go for what. And when you go for something, make it decisive as the whole team. Because I felt that, in the second game they tried a lot more, and they could have been even more decisive in some plays, and that's something they could surely improve.
I'd also add in like the point that always trying to think 1 or 2 steps further, like what are we trying to accomplish? Like especially as we've seen like with these dragon fights, what are we trying to do here? If we get that dragon, what are we gonna do after or with it, or can that net us any benefit? And if the answer is no, just don't do it. Also like kind of tame yourself, and you like get out of this kind of solo queue-esque mentality that you always have to go for like a pick or some action or whatever. But at some point of the game, it's also like just fine to be like, okay, we're behind, we're not at our power spikes, let's just sit back, let's catch waves, let's establish vision, and then look for something, and then contest these objectives, and look like use the information we have properly to make like elaborate decisions. And yeah, as you also said, like work on like the laning phase, because like a rumble against an Irelia going down like 25 to 30 CS at some point in the mid lane, that's just something that just should not happen. And well, at that point you're just not gonna have much of an impact really. So
yeah, but I mean they showed some good things too, and they had some good fighting, and they surely have a long way to go to be the best of the best, but they surely have the
Yeah, I
potential
mean, nobody
to
was
grow
born a
further.
master and or in this case like a challenger or whatever. So there's always room to improve, and I think that's especially what I admire about that we can still do this league competition here within the Swisscom Hero League. That we also like give chance and room for like new teams to qualify, to get in there, to like deserve their spots as well, and then of course also having to go against stronger and probably even more experienced players and teams where they then can show off where they're at. I mean, sometimes you just get like a bit dominated, but I mean, yeah, you have to start somewhere, and then you might realize, okay, this is where we can improve. Let's work on that. Let's focus on us, like as a team, and where we can get better. And well, we don't know. Maybe next season we'll see them in the semifinals as well. So, yeah. And I think with that, we are already at the end of tonight's broadcast here of the Swisscom Hero League here, powered by ESL. My name has been Don Rigoni. Next to me, the lovely chef himself, and it's been such a pleasure once again to cast these matches. Make sure you tune in back tomorrow evening, where Recast Gaming is gonna fight off against Arctic Gaming for the next remaining semi-final spot.
Yeah, see you soon tomorrow, and hope you can relax a little bit and be ready
Stay
for
happy,
the next
stay
series.
healthy, and
See you
take
soon.
care. See ya.
Start your esports career now at play.eslgaming.com.
Wir arbeiten schon viel. Und das darf auch sein. Es gehört halt auch dazu. Aber die Technik schafft heute auch viel. Immer mehr sogar. Die Luftfeuchtigkeit passt. Die Stauatmosphäre stimmt. Und wenn die Technik immer mehr schafft, könnten wir ja zwischendurch ein Kehr weniger krampfen. Oder etwa nicht.
You ready? Huh? Hey, he's a good boy, huh? You ready? Huh?
Start your esports career now at play.eslgaming.com.